that AI shit, man, I really think, man, that's handicapping a lot of people. It's making the future come to life now. And it's like it's handicapping people to the point now, like if you don't have a certain degree, you're gonna be shot out. Like if AI now is in fast food, what about the people who can't do nothing but work in those type of food chains? What they gonna be able to do with themselves if now this is going to eliminate a lot of the workforce? Because you ain't got to worry about AI calling in, you ain't got to worry about AI asking for benefits, you ain't got to worry about AI asking for a lot of stuff. And AI gonna be happy to be there just because you program it to be that way. People can't be programmed like that. You know, people want to be in their own existence. So man, that just be tripping me out. Just to even see it in some fast food chains and stuff.
Man, the thing about it is, and this is like humanity has always been fascinated with things doing just making things that are more advanced and out like art often imitates life, right?
Yeah,
And so if you think about like Marvel's Avengers, the Age of Ultron movie where they fought Ultron. Ultron was the robot. Ultron was the artificial intelligence that they
right.
had to fight. And
Yeah,
Ultron made a point in the movie where he said that things often create the thing that surpasses them or replaces them.
right.
Human beings, as a man, you have a son. Your son surpasses you or replaces you as the caretaker and the patriarch of the family, things like that. Well, man has created AI. And so what is AI doing? Replacing us. You go to the supermarket, what you got? Automatic checkouts. There's no person to person interaction when you go to Walmart or Kroger a lot of times. You know, you got 38 self checkout machines and one human actually ringing up groceries, if that, because they counting on the machine to do the work. I work in TV. And every TV station here in Savannah, where I'm located at, every TV station, you go in there and watch them do a newscast. It's hard. You'd be hard pressed to find a person manning a camera. All the cameras are robots. When I first started doing TV, and this was in the early 2000s, you needed somebody working audio. You needed 3 camera people. All of that. Now you could do a show with 3 people, somebody to roll the teleprompter if you need that, a producer and a director. After that, there are no camera people. Why? Because it's robots. There's nobody working audio. Why? Because it's a robot. And now, you got smart cars. You got cars that can drive themselves, cars that'll park themselves, smart homes where you go in, the lights come on when you go in, the house start talking to you, welcome home.
Yeah.
You have, what would you like to eat? All kind of other silly stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if it ever came a time where we had to fight the robots, we done set the chessboard up for them. We in a bad situation. This whole AI situation is really, really something to really keep an eye on. But on the flip side of that, if you're working in any industry, you need to start educating yourself now on how to use AI as a tool and not let it, be something that is used as a crutch or that replaces you. And I say as a tool to get the job done, meaning that tool was taken away, you can still find another way to do it. You know what I'm
Man, but
saying?
let me ask you this, bro. Let me ask you this, because you got my mind just flipping all over the place. Because it seems like everything else is getting smarter and the people is getting dumber. And that's kind of crazy to even see shit like that, because, like, when you look into certain things, they don't even know how humanity even gained a conscience. So how
Yeah.
can you sit here and say that one day, like even like these movies we watch, and I know it's movies and science fiction and all that, But what if the machine does start realizing that the problem is not the work, but the people in itself? You get what I'm saying? Because it seems like the people are just getting dumber and dumber, and everything else is getting smarter and smarter. Like, and I don't think motherfuckers really understand, like, we putting ourselves in jeopardy because you now making yourself to the point so lazy. And if anybody know the game, laziness to kill. You know,
I mean, you got to look at
and real talk with this here, man. My bad, brother.
you good.
The one thing that we're making the mistake with doing is that we making machine and then we creating the machine to make another machine. I think that's part of the biggest problem what's going on right now. And people don't realize that when that machine gain that intelligence of I can make another one just like me, but you think gonna keep happening over and over and over. These machines will keep making more and more machines. And shit, to be realistic about it, we can't go ahead on with no goddamn machine, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I see is happening right now, and that's how when I see these movies and stuff like that, even though like my brother Will said, it's fictional, but that shit kind of give you a real take of what actually can happen. Terminator is one of them. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of give you a real take on the shit that can actually happen if these machines do what they do. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, brother. I was listening to you, man. I just had to throw that in there, man.
I mean, the real clear and present danger, like I'm saying, is, like, you could work a machine to death, and when it clunks out, you just replace it with another machine or you get it repaired. And guess what? You don't have to pay it anything. Once you buy the machine, you can let it work till it don't work anymore, and then you replace it with another machine. And that's what we're seeing what's happening now, which is leading to a lot of job loss. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like we were talking before we went on the air about how you go to Wendy's or McDonald's or whatever, and you don't even have to talk to a person to put your order in. You put your order in through an electronic machine. And why? Because that machine can stand there all day and take order after order. It don't need a break. You don't have to pay it hourly. You don't have to do nothing. So, once McDonald's buy one of those machines to replace however many employees, that's more and more people, individuals that do need money and do need to be able to provide and feed, that is being replaced by robots. Same thing for cashiers going to the grocery store, same thing. I mean, look at it now. Amazon starting to use
saw that.
Amazon and other services starting to use drones to drop packages off. You see a drone come and drop your package off. That's somebody's job right there. So, I mean, the clear and present danger is human labor and traditional human jobs being replaced by robotics and AI and technology. So
how we gonna compete with that? How can we compete with that? Because like bro said, you got something that's thinking quicker and faster than you, that can come in and try to create something quicker and faster than you, move faster than you. You now have to compete with something that is created to be efficient in a way that a human being can't. Because we were not meant to just go 24 hours a day. Because anybody, like they say, your body will break down after so much time of just constantly moving. So a human being got to break, take some time to just even regenerate.
And what's the biggest expense for companies? Payroll. Companies are constantly looking for ways to cut payroll. So if I could spend $100,000 and buy a robot, and that robot can replace a line of pay off the payroll, and I can cut payroll, then I'm gonna buy a ton of robots, cut payroll, and increase my profits. And I can once I pay that $100,000, I can work that robot all day, and I don't have to pay it nothing. Yep. It's not trying to join no union. It's not trying to
call out.
It ain't trying to call out. It ain't gonna get sick. And most of all, I don't have to pay health benefits. I don't have to pay payroll. I don't have nobody looking for a check every 2 weeks.
But if you look at that shit, man, that shit is killing the social structure because that's gonna get rid of the middle class like a motherfucker. You either gonna
Right.
be
Right.
rich or you gonna be poor. You know what I was thinking about when y'all boys was talking? Remember that old movie back in the day, Escape New York, Escape LA? Y'all ever
Yeah.
seen that
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
in the
Escape.
day?
Yeah. With
Yeah.
what's his name? With Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
I think that was
And
Kurt.
remember
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
when the shit fell and it was just like now it's survival. But you had the upper echelons who was living their life like it was normal. They could just eat like a hamburger was like $1,000. You get what I'm saying? And
Right.
then you got the people now who just fighting just to survive. Just to survive, man. You know what I'm saying? And if this shit gets to that point, because I know we look using like references of science fiction and all, but it just kind of just looking at it in a way how this can become a reality that we not even thinking of. You know?
Right.
So I don't think, man, that we should just let this get to the point where it advances us. I think people should always want to be the ones that are truly the head of every creation out here, even the ones we make. We're making these computers think smarter, move harder, work faster, and we still don't understand how human beings got a conscience and stuff like that. What if one day the computer wake up and say, "Hey, man, what the fuck am I working so hard for these motherfuckers?" On some iRobot shit. I know we losing a lot of references off the movie, but what if that conscious thinking is something? Because we really can't explain where the conscious mind came from. They tried to say how human beings evolved, and one time we were primates running around and missing links and all, and there's a lot of stuff they can't explain. So if we cannot explain these phenomena, how can we ever say these phenomena can't be created in something else that we tinkered with?
Yeah. Yeah. Right about that shit, bro. Right about that. Like you say, it's kind of crazy, man, that, like you were saying, that we take a lot of these references and see some of the stuff like on movies and stuff like that. They've been trying to show us a lot of the shit that's going on now for a long time. We just looked at it as entertainment back then. You know what I'm saying? And it's coming more and more to life, man. But deep down the line, I really believe, and I truly believe this shit. They these damn things gonna replace a lot of us, man. It's definitely gonna replace a lot of us. So
Definitely.
Shit, unless you
yeah,
got a special skill or something. And so we speaking on the truth. Yeah, it's better. This is why you better learn something more than a fucking rap song. And we always try to
yeah,
have these conversations because we want people to evolve. Because you got, even with the music now, did y'all boys not hear? It was a lady who generated an AI artist that won a Grammy. So you got even AI now singing their music and people don't even know.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
you could go and create a whole song, create a whole artist,
yeah,
and the whole thing be made up. It's artificial intelligence. You know, it's like
yeah.
who was it? Was it Tank that just came out with the song featuring Aaliyah, and the Aaliyah is AI.
Oh, okay.
I got to
Bro,
look it up real quick. Hold on.
bro,
I gotta look
I'm
it up.
with you on that. I'm with you on that because I see this shit all the time, and I be looking at some of the stuff, doing what I'm doing with our shows and stuff. I be seeing all that all the time, man. Where you don't even have to say shit. You could just type it in, and the motherfucker will sing it for you. You get what I'm saying? That AI shit will sing it for you, and that's just what it's coming to, man. At the end of the day, man, it's like we
I
we
losing
gonna
touch
we
with
basic.
reality, bro. Because
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
fuck is real and what ain't real no more? Like reality ain't. They really shifting reality, bro. And I don't think people see
yeah,
that shit, bro. Y'all trying to be funny, but damn. Because now you can't tell if this is authentic or this is some kind of simulation. You get phone calls now, you don't know who you're talking to on the phone.
yeah.
The
And it's
song is
kind of
called
like,
"Gone." Gone. It's Aaliyah and Tank,
yeah,
and I don't know
it's
how they can
gone.
say it's Aaliyah because it was AI.
Yeah,
Because they using Aaliyah's image, man, and they probably paying her franchise to use her image and stuff like that. So, they're gonna make it work and make it sound nice. But at the same time, you playing with reality. Let Aaliyah rest in peace. Let us
yeah,
remember her legacy for what it is. Now I don't get mad when I see artists sometimes take songs and they might sample a song that an artist had did, and they just kind of put they touch on that shit. But to bring back the artist like you bringing back the dead once again, man.
They don't man. You got to think about it, man, bro. This world is based off, especially this country, is based off of just money. They don't give a fuck about a person deaf or not. They all about seeing what they can put in their pocket, and they don't give a fuck who they got to use or destroy to make sure that they do that. You get what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. I'm pretty much sure with how shit is from a writing standpoint, the business side of course they got to pay some type of royalties or whatever to either the family or whatever. But the fact of the matter, these people don't give a fuck about no respect, man. If this world went off of respect for other people, there's a lot of shit that wouldn't have been created in the world, period. You get what I'm saying? So it's all about big business, and that's all that matters,
Hey, you're right. You know what? You made me think about something when you was talking. Y'all guys heard about the Michael Jackson franchise getting sold back to Sony. Now, if anybody ever know that whole situation with Michael Jackson fought hard to get his royalty rights from Sony
Yeah.
and stuff like that, man. And his kids that we gonna say his kids, they now are old enough to basically inherit the family fortune, because I think Miss Jackson is really up in age and stuff. So they said, man,
Right.
they sold back the franchise for way less than what it was worth. The royalties and stuff like that back to Sony. And like you say, it's the respect for it, because I'm thinking like this. And we don't know their situation, we don't know what they're going through. But at the same time, if your dad left this legacy and he fought so hard for this legacy, why you don't think y'all undermining him by
Right.
dealing with the people that he fought so hard to kind of get his rights from?
They basically spit on his grave, man, by doing that, man. I'm just gonna keep it real, cause like you say, I understand the fact of, everybody probably go through hardship, and I can't really see no person who wealthy like that just go through fucking hardship unless they just blow everything. But to me, I don't know the backstory to that, but of course, my mind saying right now it's just more so of a greed thing with them, and just like you was stressing about the fact that supposed to be his kids, I think you already know how I feel about that shit. I ain't trying to say nothing out the way, but I think you already know how I feel about that. And to do some shit like that just to sell that period to some fucking company, that's fucked up altogether. You know what I'm saying? So
No,
uh,
that's your
yeah,
father's legacy, man.
yeah, man. Best
You would think
best
things in
believe.
this world would be worth more than glitter and gold, but I think the glamour is really all that matters, because morals and integrity can be sold, man, just for the simple fact of I want to shine. And
Yeah.
if profit now is the messiah of the world, because everything is being made to be worshipped off for a dollar,
Mm-hmm.
what can we really now look forward to make evolution for the man, for everyday man? Because how are we going to evolve if I can sell everything out, not just to make a profit? Because if I can undermine a situation that'll make me a millionaire overnight, a lot of people gonna take that chance, man.
Yeah, they're gonna take it. They're gonna
So
take it, bro.
as people, what direction you think is going to help people just see a bigger and better way of trying to evolve, instead of just always putting everything worth value on their bank account?
Some people not looking for the long haul. They want it quick and fast. You get what I'm saying? And the thing is it seemed like with, especially I would say like the younger generation, it's all about living for now, not for establishment later. You know what I'm saying? So of course they're gonna take that quick buyout. Me personally, of course, I don't give a damn. Even if I need something right now, I know how to maneuver and make that bread. But the fact is, if something's being, especially like that valuable and precious, is being passed to me, I'm not looking to sell it or auction it off for just no few little dollars. That's something that needs to stay within my camp. You know what I'm saying? So you think of the longevity of things, uh, the value of it, what it will be later. See, now Just say it's worth a couple mil or whatever. That's all you get. Later on, that shit could be worth a couple of bill. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about the generation, man. When it comes to that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
We all got to acknowledge that the generation is going to uphold what value is, because I think every generation kind of makes its own what value looks like. So I think when our generation, we put a lot of value on knowledge. Remember, I remember the old saying, knowledge is power. You
right,
understand me? But a lot of shit now, you see the dummies being the ones that's making the big dollars. So it's like, so how can you sit there and tell a person, hey man, you need to put your time and energy getting this knowledge and this information, when you see an idiot in front of you and he's shining brighter than the damn, how they like to say. So it's kind of hard to kind of have these conversations and be able to stand on these conversations when it's about the end result. And you can't
right,
be mad at them for wanting it to be about the end result, because what I do hate is that, yes, they don't want to learn about the past. A lot of them, when you talk to kids, I should learn about the past. It's about the here and now. A lot of them can't tell you nothing further than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan to them is history. Kobe Bryant to them
right.
is history. You get what I'm saying? When you go to like some of
Mhm.
our founding fathers and stuff like that, they look at you like, who the hell you talking about? But I don't think
Yeah,
that they really understand that if you look at the journey that you went through, you will respect your shine way much better. And it's like,
right,
how can you now try to instill in them, like, I'm not saying live in the past, but it's important to be able to put a stamp on what you created, instead of letting everybody else come around saying, oh, you know what? You wouldn't have this if I didn't do this. Because at one time, y'all remember that old saying when they were saying like athletes were athletes because they used to breed us. The black man used to get bred. So this is where he got all his genetics to be the great athlete. Damn, they didn't even want to give us the genetics of being like, this is what you know, we bred to do. They even
right,
wanted to say that that was something that they evolved for us. So I'm not going to sit here and make everything black and white. But what I am going to do is make everything to the point of what should be valued now. You get what I'm
right.
saying? Because at one time, the value is a man dying for his respect. Now, the value is a man dying for his change. So y'all boys help me kind of just understand why you think things are just moving the way it's moving.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying, a lot of that dates back to, like what an example of valuable is put in front of the individual. Nowadays, like a lot of kids are being raised, looking at social media, looking at fake value, so they're looking at chains and they're looking at somebody flashing money and they looking at, um, people's ideals of what success and money and happiness and all that looks like. But what they don't understand is what they see on social media is everybody's best moments. People post their best moments on social media. That might be you might see somebody flash thousands of dollars, $10,000 on social media. That might be the only time in that person's life they ever had $10,000 the whole in their hand, and they flashing it so heavy on social media because they can't believe they have it either.
Right.
So they got that they all on social media flashing money, and another uh, influence or person that's able to be influenced see that and be like, I want to be just like him because he got money, he got this, not knowing that's the only time in that person's life they ever had that much money. And so they put a value on that. Like, that's what's valuable to me. I'll give anything to have that, to be that, and not understanding, it's like it take a lot of living and a lot of understanding and a lot of loss sometimes to understand that the best
Yeah,
things in this life don't cost money. You know what I'm
there you
saying?
go.
The best things in this life, you can't put a value on it. You can't make enough money to buy it.
Right,
And you can't make enough money to replace it once it's gone. And so it takes a like I said, it takes a lot of living to understand that. You know, you can't put in it's hard to put the post things that are truly valuable
Yeah.
on the internet in a way that people will understand. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, it's like you what's more my definition of value now is time with individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
took me a lot of living and a lot of learning and losing people, specifically like losing my mother, to understand how invaluable a second, a minute of time is.
Yes.
Because what I wouldn't give now to have just a minute to sit with my mama. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no amount of money I wouldn't give. There's no,
Yeah.
you know, it's like money is inconsequential to me when it comes to time with the people that I care about and the moments. You know what I'm saying? So it's like even now, and you know, raising my daughter and you know, my niece who is 21 at this point, and my nephew who's 10, and just like being around them and understanding how valuable that time is with them, because you're gonna blink and like my niece 21, I remember when she was the same age as my daughter who's 5. I remember that. And then I blinked and she was 21 driving and in college and doing her own thing. And I'm like, where the time goes? So it's like I appreciate the time, and I understand how crucial it is to spend that time with my daughter and with my nephew who are younger and of age, because I'm a blink in a minute and they're gonna be, you know, 21 and walking out the door. So it's like, but if you would have asked me what's more valuable to me when I was 21, 22, 23, my answer would have been very different than what it is right now. Because it, like I said, it takes a lot of living, it takes a lot of learning. Sometimes it takes a lot of pain. It takes a lot of trying to rationalize what this life is and what means the most to you. And once you realize money can't buy the things that you value the most, no matter how much I can accumulate all the money in the world, I can't buy time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
they say rich people, they spend their entire life trying to acquire more money. And then once they have all the money, they spend all their money trying to acquire more life.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to buy more time. So it's like it takes a lot of living and learning, but people learn of what's valuable by what's put in front of them. And right now, a lot of what's put in front of these young people is these fake images of what, you know, they watching everybody, they watching a highlight reel of everybody best day,
Yeah.
and they think that's how their whole life is. That's not how their whole
And you
life
know what?
is. That's one
False
day.
idol worship. False idol worship, man. Getting away
Right.
from really what life and elevation is all about. Because as I'm listening to you talk, you know, I was blessed to have wise heads in front of me growing up. And I used to hear the old head say, man, you got to suffer. You got to suffer. And I'm like, what the hell is you talking about? Because, you know, in my mind, it's like, why a person got to suffer through life to learn about life? But it's exactly to get to that what's valuable about life. I believe all our yesteryears, we would have all answered that question different. Somebody would have came to you and say, what's more important to you? But now, you know, being seasoned and seeing things move and understand, don't nothing shake but the leaves and the trees right here. Don't nothing change but the seasons around here. You start realizing that the most valuable things is time. Because like listen, man, if it was all about money, they've been trying to bury money ever since King Tut. All motherfuckers do is go back and dig it up, put it in museums. You understand me? They put more valuable time on people life insurance. So sometimes a person is more worth dead than alive. So it all this trying to shorten life, shorten time is really, I think, just false reality. Understanding that you got to look at the exequential of what's more important, and it's the time. It's because that's what makes all men equal. That's what makes all men equal. You know what's so funny, bro? As I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, because that's why I like talking to y'all brothers. Y'all make a man brain turn. you can always say, people always think if they had money, life would be better. But then you see rich people acting like they got problems. Have you ever said that? It ever just makes you just wonder how a person who can come from what you think is the best walks of life, and they can say, I have so much problems and I had so much to deal with, and I got this, that, and the third. And I remember, man, growing up, man, I saw this guy, man, and I ain't gonna call him a bum. We just gonna say a person who was just living out here on the street. And man, he was the happiest person I ever met. And people would try to go up to him and offer him stuff and all, and he'd be like, "No, I'm straight." And that would just baffle me, man, because I'm sitting there like, "Damn, dude, you know what I'm saying?" Like and he would act like everything was just bliss, like he had no worries. And it just made me start wondering, like, what is truly important in life? Like, what's truly important? How can you see a man with nothing be happy as hell, and a man who have everything ready to just, I got to end it all? So it's kind of like, damn, you really can't say if you have this is going to be better, or if you go with that. It's always what we think we don't have will make things better when we're not really looking at it's the time and the existence and the loved ones that we share with. Like, you know, this interaction with y'all and the people who watch this, we interacting. They never met us, we never met them, but right now we sharing an existence. This is a space and time and space. And some people can sit here and evolve from this, like, hey man, you know what? These brothers hitting on all cylinders, because I never really thought about what's the really most important thing to me. Because, you know, everybody is not blessed to have conversation from people that is from an elevated level. A lot of people do focus on low vibrations in this world. So to be able to sit around brothers like Will Sirius, the professor, or sit around brothers like DJ Robi Keith, who look at life like, hey man, you know what? My existence and what I leave in my existence is truly more important than what I leave in my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all boys, man. Hey man.
It's like your legacy, you know. It's like your legacy. It's like, you know, it's like my becoming a professor. Like I never dreamed of becoming an educator. I never dreamed I'd be in a college setting as a college professor teaching other people. But now there's nothing that I take more seriously, you know, besides raising my own, you know. Pouring into my daughter and my niece and nephew, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing that I take more seriously than educating my students, because, you know, they are my legacy. There is there's very few things that make me feel more proud or better as a human being than for one of my former students to come back and say, you made a difference. Like, I remember you taught me this. I remember you told me this. And one of the greatest compliments I ever got from a student, and he said, you not only taught me to be a better professional, but you taught me to be a better man, and I appreciate that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what I really want my students to take away from me is not just knowledge and skills to go out and help you get a job and be successful. But if I could give my students a few tokens here and there, or some skills and some life skills in the way that it makes them better people, better citizens of the world, then I feel like I've done my job. You know, it's like, you could fail my class, but as long as you pass in life and something that I gave you help you do that, I'm good with it. Right. I'm good with missing the mark academically, but making the mark in life and being successful as a person, as a human being. You know, so and that, you know, that's what I care about, even with my own. Am I putting good people, good human beings out into the world? Somebody that's going to contribute to society, their community, and be a citizen of the world as a whole. You know, so and you know, we've seen that a lot lately. Like, you know, recently, because of the government shutdown, a lot of individuals lost their SNAP benefits. And you know, you go online, you hear some people, I don't even get SNAP. I work hard for everything I get. I pay for my own food. That's good. That's cool. But you don't have to receive SNAP that has compassion and feel for those who do receive SNAP benefits and who do rely on that to feed their families. You don't have to receive those type of benefits to feel to be an individual that is locked in with what's going on around them and feel for the struggles and the concerns and the pain of some of those around you. And if you are that type of person that well, that ain't got nothing to do with me type attitude when things that affect a large community as a whole, you know, then that's a sad existence. That's a sad existence. It's like a lot of Martin Luther King said, you know, what hurt me the most was not the words of my enemies, but the silence of my friends. And so if you're supposed to be my friend, my neighbor, you know, we in the same community, in the same struggle, and I'm suffering, and you got very little to say, no actions to take, then you might as well go on over there with the person that's putting me through it.
Yep, exactly. Because they're bringing division in the community, man, and that's the part of it that people take lack of, because now it's all about me, myself, and I.
Right, and that's what I try to instill in my students and the individuals that I teach. Be a good person. Be a good citizen of the world. If you see something that deserves your action, put that action in. If you see something that deserves you to speak up, speak up. It might, you know, even if it's a situation where you might not necessarily be directly affected, but it might be a situation where if you said something, did something, you can help somebody that is affected. And that makes all the difference in the world. If everybody was willing to help somebody, even though there's nothing for them to gain in return, you know, the world would be a lot better place.
But you are gaining, because, see, you got to look at it like this, and this is why these conversations important. In this world, you're going to either be a builder or a destroyer. See, you could be a destroyer of people, or you can be a builder of people. You know, I want to be a builder. You know, I know sometimes you got to break things down to build things back up. So you want to look at it in a way of, when I come through here, man, when I build something, you know, I'm leaving a foundation that's going to be sturdy. When I look at a lot of the youngsters that pass through us now, we teaching them how to be destroyers, and they not even realizing that. They taking it as something to laugh at, man. You destroying your own, man. You being a destroyer of your own people, a destroyer of your own nation. You ain't got to be no goody two-shoe ass, but you got to realize what you're doing and what you bring into the world and what is truly a factor, because guess what? You are a part of creation. We all are a part of the creator. So you are a part of creation. And what you put out into this world is what are you creating. So if you're creating chaos, you're being a destroyer. You see everything around you being destroyed, and then you looking, and it's your own fault, and you're taking it as something that's like, this don't mean nothing. It means way more than you think it do. You understand me? So to have that mindset of a builder, like, hey, man, you know what? When I touch something, I want to make sure that shit elevate to another level. Because anybody who knows a little something that's a part of the founding fathers thinking. That's why it's an unfinished pyramid on a dollar bill, because every generation supposed to add on. It's never going to be finished. Every generation supposed to add something to the conversation. And it's like, I think a lot of times we don't let them know the importance of having these types of conversations. Like, it's cool to be hip. Man, look at, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I think our folks got style to a T, but we need to step up on our sophistication a little bit more. You understand me? And stop letting the wrong things represent us. Because like I said, man, it's like, nah, and I'm just gonna be real. The dummies, they sit there and they say some dumb ass shit, and then everybody look at you like, hey, man, that's y'all. No, it ain't. That's this dumb ass. You get what I'm saying? Like, so since we all got to be identified as one, then we need to start having better representation and holding our representation more accountable. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the way things work. This is how it works. And I think for a person to be able to play the game, you got to learn the rules first, man. Like, come on, man, you can't play basketball using football rules. And I think E40 said that, but it make motherfucking sense. You get what I'm saying? Like that makes sense. You can't play the game if you don't know the rules. You can't want to evolve if you don't know what evolution look like. You can't tell a person I want better if, first of all, you ain't trying to do fucking better. You know what I'm saying? So the guidelines of how to interact and how to represent yourself need to be more instructed by the people who look at this as, you know what? Since everybody in my culture is going to be represented by one or two, we need to start holding our people a little bit more accountable at how they represent.
Yeah, that's very true. You know, it's like and how you represent yourself, the people that you touch, and the people that you help, and the people that you help grow, and that you pull up along the way. That's your legacy. That's what you leave behind. You know what I'm saying? Long after you're gone, because we all got our day. And so it's like, I heard a while ago, you die two deaths.
Yeah.
When you physically die, you physically leave this world, and that's your first death. The second death is when people stop saying your name. And so you want your name said, you want your name repeated for good and great things long after you are left. And with that, you have to be a good citizen of the world, and somebody that's willing to go above and beyond and go the extra mile for your brothers and sisters. As you know, as you walk through this journey, help those along the way. And I'm not saying you got to run out there and find every battle to fight and every cause to root for and no. But just as you go along your way, as you go by your day-to-day business and you see an opportunity to help. Because that person going to remember that. And those going to be the people that continue to say your name. You know, I love that line from the movie, what's the movie with Achilles? I can't remember. Troy. Troy is the name of the movie. And there's a little kid talking to Achilles. And that he says something to Achilles about courage or being afraid. And the little kid says something to Achilles about being afraid to go and go to battle or go to war. And Achilles looks at him and says, that's why nobody will remember your name. And that was the most important thing to that character, was his name being remembered long after he was gone. And years after Achilles is gone, people still saying his name. But we're still saying his name in stories and in fiction. But that's the same thing. Like I said, art imitates life. That's the same thing in life. As you go along your way, help where you can. And if you're not gonna help, at least don't hurt. And right. You know, and then your legacy will speak for yourself after you're gone. But you know, that being said, to get back to what we were talking about originally, AI is a tool, and it should be used as a tool. It shouldn't be used as a replacement. And what we need to do as you know, mankind and as humanity, find a way to incorporate AI in a way in which we can help lift and build each other instead of try to replace each other. And that's a lot of what I teach my students in the classroom too, about using AI as a tool, not a crutch, not a replacement, but as a tool to help you be successful. And then you can help teach others how to use that tool to be successful.
Most definitely. But check this out, people. That's another one for us. I'm DJ Robi Keith. I got my man Big Kleen and the one and only Will Serious here. We're going to catch y'all on the next tape.